Forget that's not a bad name. That's not a bad last name. What the hell?
Well, they say
Cheers.
pick it, lick it, stick it. You know?
That's
And man,
hilarious.
I was a kid. And like, fuck you guys. Yeah.
I do agree with the buy thing though, because I feel like everyone has like their internal fucking conversations. Like I think primitive people could have got tricked that that was a god feature or something. Be like, like I'm talking to myself and something's listening and talking back to me. Like I could see people being duped by that.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. Yep.
Did you ever see that video I like to share called The Missing Pieces Room, Wally?
Mrs. Missing Pieces room. No,
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
is it
bring
on your
it.
Facebook or on here?
No, this was like an experience I went through. I
Okay.
like, I know it's just a video,
Mm-hmm.
but but I went through a period of time where this video was like everything to me, and and I got like, and I rationalized it out, what it means to me. I rationalized it out. I
Okay.
have like, I have like a structure that I can tell you about it. Um, and it's what led to what you've probably seen me see, which is emergence computation and medium,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So I believe that everything is emergent and that abstract things, if you consider things just to be systems, well, if an abstract thing is a system and a brain is a system, well, they're kind of equivalent in a sense, right? So
Mm-hmm.
abstract things could be as real, if you want to use the word real, as we rate our own sense of experience. You
what
have
about center of gravity? Center of gravity, that would qualify as fucking abstract, right?
yeah, that's an emergent thing. The center
See,
emerges from the interactions of particles.
I do think that there's like a local computation, uh there's a transcendent computation, and then so like that would be like a relational computation. So I
To
have
get
to
back
figure out
to
this
the
whole
missing
typology.
pieces room,
Huh?
for the missing pieces room, here's the thing, though, right? So you got emergence, computation, and medium, and
Yep.
abstract things can be as real as real as we rate our sense of existence, right? So you feel the world is real around you, but if you
Mm.
start to look at systems, you graph them out. Well, they're equivalent, right? So if we say our sense of existence is real, there could be an equally complex computational system out there, and the kind of computations it has, in some sense of reality, is as real to it as our sense of reality is to us. But to get
Yep.
back to the missing pieces room, it was like ascending to a different plane of reality. Like this idea of emergence computation and medium was the result of this. So going into it, I came across this video clip, and it resonated with me, and
Yep.
it like it took over everything. I couldn't. It was everything to me.
Mm-hmm.
I made up this big story about
Remote
it,
conscious.
whittled down the story to just what I could try to consider reasonable, and the result of it was emergence computation and medium, which I think adequately describes almost every phenomenon
Oh yeah,
in the universe.
I
You know,
agree. That's like the whole. That's
but
like the
at the
macro structure.
time, going through the missing pieces room was like an experience. And this is the bicameral mind. That was the experience. It was,
Mm.
it was like a different plane of consciousness as the article gets into. And now I'm
See,
over it.
I'm super into all this stuff. So, did it
Well,
feel like it
remember, I
was?
got schizophrenia.
Did,
So,
did it feel like that
you know,
guy was like a higher entity to you? Like sort of like
it was like I
speaking to you
willed myself to be there. Willed.
in the missing pieces room?
Yeah. Another plane of reality.
So, okay, but so another plane of reality. This is. I have to think about that a lot. I've thought about it a lot, but
Oh, hold
did it
on.
seem,
I
did
just
it
saw
seem like it
something.
was transcendent to your like lifetime in a sense? Like,
No, nothing to do with my lifetime. Hold on, I'm trying to remember something. Oh, what is it? How does it go? Moral.
I mean, dude, you see what I was doing with that pure difference field with, computation and like I see. Like, here's where it gets confusing for me. Is the frame for that field what's computing, or is it the units of pure difference that are attracting toward one another what's computing? So like that's why I'm starting to think like there's several different kinds of computing entities at the same time
Yeah.
relative to the same phenomena. So there might be just like infinite transcending fucking computing entities, like frames that just keep fucking going up and down and side to side. And so like when you talk about an abstract like perspective or consciousness, that's like the opposite of a concrete consciousness, right? So like we have sort of, you know, the existence
I'm
of
not saying they're
opposites.
opposites. I'm saying they're equivalent,
Well,
right?
I'm saying it is opposite in a sense. It's opposite and equivalent. Like I'm seeing, dude, with everything that I've been seeing, it's like symmetry and asymmetry at the same time. Like,
And the point of equivalence, though, is that it's neutral to what is real. Where I'm not saying we're real. I'm not saying it's real. I'm saying we have an equivalent degree of existence.
right, yeah,
Because we like I've mentioned this before. We could be in an abstract reality, thinking it's all nice and real, when some other plane where which we consider abstract could be an
right.
actual quote real unquote.
I think it's all relational. It's all relative,
Yeah.
100%. Like
I
everything
can't
is
find the
just
meme I was
as
looking
real.
for.
Mm,
Hmm.
Oh wait,
What
were
did
you
what
looking
did
for
you
the
think
for?
of the entire conversation that went on today, Brandon?
Oh, that
Overall,
guy, that kid was well.
which
So
one?
I was watching earlier. The one that left, the Michael guy. Like he's just
Yeah, he was a
he-
latecomer. He
he's
wasn't there for Brian.
yeah, I know. I didn't interpret Brian as actually referencing Mein Kampf, so I don't think that he was actually. I think that I don't know why he even said that. I think he
It
brought
was
that
a
up.
bad example. You
Yeah,
know?
Brian's a smart guy, but he seems to be too emotional. He gets too wrapped up and he's very judgmental, very emotional.
Yeah.
But he's overall smart. He's the one that's all about the K through 12 philosophy, and I think that
Yeah.
that's correct.
I saw that.
And but I would add psychology to that too. But and then I would also extend education past 12 grades. Like general education, it should go much further than fucking 12 grades
well, that's you're talking
Yeah.
about, free
for
college
college.
basically.
Basically,
Yeah,
it's like for secondary
I always say,
education. Yeah, it has to go
I
further.
would say as long as you're getting a
You know
B
why college
average,
isn't free in America?
I would give you free school.
Do you know the real reason college isn't free in America? Is because if college was free, there would be no incentive for young people to join the military to finance it.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Well, like you said, you always said the poor in general, so yeah, that makes sense.
College is one of your few chances to get yourself established in America. Because in America, if you ever fall out of the system, you are fucked.
Yeah.
Yep.
9 out of 10. So you gotta have this perfect life. You gotta go to college. You gotta get your social network going. You gotta meet people. So you gotta go to college as a fact, right? And to get there, you got no money. The militaries will get you there.
Yeah.
They will put you through college if you serve your country, you know, and hope you don't die.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that works. But then again, it's also a fucking ridiculous profit machine that shouldn't be a ridiculous profit machine, as all fucking profit machines,
Yeah.
but that's true of all fucking profit
Hmm.
machines.
Again,
Healthcare,
yeah.
military.
It's just again, it's about how much profit. Like I said, making profit's fine. It's how much you
Dude,
make. Like,
nothing's free in America.
no,
Nothing.
no,
Not even in education. If you go to public school in America, you learn who hurrah America's great, right? If you want to get education that's going to be really high quality, you need private school.
yeah.
You know, Yeah, and it's built into the system, right? Okay, think about this: a millionaire can claim as much charitable deductions as they want,
Yeah.
right? But yet, an American teacher, these are facts, right? An American
300
teacher,
bucks.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I'm going to get to something before that. Okay, for what an American teacher is paid, they could go be a bartender and make 3 times as much money with half as much stress and half the hours, right?
I
And
wouldn't
then
say
when you
stress.
but you know what I mean. But
I
you know
do.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. And then $300 you said, right? Okay, now get this. A millionaire can claim all the deductions they want, but an American teacher who's underpaid and undersupplied, there's no supplies in the school, right? So out of their sense of trying to help kids, they buy their own supplies. They're only allowed to claim $300 of it on their taxes.
Yeah.
So, what kind of incentives is built into the system here? Tell me about this. The incentives.
Yeah. I
You know?
I bartend. There's 2 teachers that come see me almost every day. So I mean, I talk to them about this shit all the time because it is sad how much money
So what I
how much
so,
money they spend out of their own pockets to actually help kids and
so
make kids better.
so the impressions I've picked up as a Canadian outside of the U.S. are they accurate?
Mostly, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you only get so much. I think it is 300 bucks. It could be a little bit more, but it's not much. No matter what.
I read
Like
300.
I think it is right, but like I said, I'm not sure exactly. I haven't
Yeah.
technically Googled it, but either way, she has to spend
Yeah.
a lot of money out of her own pocket.
Yeah,
You know,
because the school doesn't provide anything, not because they're not decent people, but because the government doesn't pay for it.
Yep.
It's just not in the budget. That it's not a priority.
Even worse, technically,
Football,
they do
football
supply, but
priority
it's
at
the
all.
teachers supplying. It's not even the government. It's not the government. It's not nobody. It's the
Yeah.
teachers supplying, and not the.
They don't have anything. The textbooks are like gone. They're like from 30 years ago, and their half pages are missing.
I wonder.
Is what I've read.
I wonder how often we change books here. Actually, like you made me look.
Yeah.
Hold on. How
But
often?
the football
do-
team's locker room. Oh wow, modern facility.
Yep.
You know.
A high school book usually lasts 3 to 5 years in America.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not as bad
So
as I thought.
30 years.
No, but how about this though? So like my parents, we went to Epiphany, which is a private school. I got like my brother.
Yeah.
I got my brother's fucking like math book, and that was like 7 years. He was like 7 years before me. So like at that school we got hand me downs for fucking ever. So
What
like
about other subjects though?
pretty much every subject, English, math, pretty much all the books were fucking 7, 10 years old at least.
Now this was private school. Did you go to private school, Brandon?
Fuck no.
Okay, so you and Wally trade stories. What do you guys think of your respective schools?
The thing about private school, the reason why I feel like they're better is because they have higher standards. So like for me, if you got a 70, that was a D minus, which is in private school a C. So I feel like that's the number one thing that makes private schools like kids better is because the standard. So I was talking to Brandon actually about this earlier about like Japanese people and Chinese or Asian people in general. The reason why they're better at school is because their standards are higher. Like the parents care so much more about school that their kids do better
Yeah.
at school. I think the same thing would be in America. Like if we actually if parents treated school like they did with sports, like and they took kids to places, for education instead of sports and stuff, I think we'd have one of the smartest like kids in the world. But we don't do that.
I've seen stories where Asian culture really puts demands on success in school
Mhm.
to the point where if you don't, you're a pariah. You failed.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
good or bad. I'm just saying, but there's a reason why they have that not stand, but the reason why they're higher in
need
education.
More determinism in the mix as far as like figuring out what to do with kids, because it comes down to like
You got to
how
get kids
things are at
interested.
home.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, that too. And then how things are in the school, and then yes, like the interest part. So like these problems, the home life, the social life,
Hmm.
that comes into play.
They all
with
correlate.
making
Yep.
interests like
Yeah.
lessened.
For fucking
And then it's
sure.
also like it's also the fucking curriculum, because like when I was in school, like I thought it was a waste of fucking time, like the actual
course.
stuff that we were doing, the homework. Like I wasn't learning anything; it was just fucking busy
No.
work to me.
Another thing I
Like,
think
oh,
we
do
should.
this stupid project.
I think
like,
another thing we
no,
should
this
do
is
for like
trash.
young kids. For young kids, I think they should have like a mini 5-minute recess like every like half hour. Like these kids all have ADD / whatever.
Right. Kids need to be able to talk. Like
like-
this whole like expecting
Let's
kids
do
to
math
sit
for like
still.
let's do math for like 30 40 minutes. All right, let's go do what you want to do for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, go fuck around, waste your energy, run your shit off. Okay, come back. Let's learn again,
Like,
I
there
feel
needs to be more of like probably like a Socratic element too, like of making kids think. Like that's where the philosophy in K-12 thing comes in. Like,
Mhm.
like it needs to be a participatory process, not just a instructive process.
They should
But I
learn
mean, sometimes
reason instead
those are
of
good
rote. Is
too,
that what
though.
you mean?
Huh?
Okay, there's two kinds of learning: rote reasoning, rote learning, ROTE, and then there's reasoning,
Yep.
right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
ROTE, rote, what that is basically it's just if you see this, do this. If you see
Yep.
this, do this, right? You don't learn how it works. You
Mhm.
learn all the cases. If you
Mhm.
see this, do this.
Yep.
So rote learning came before reasoning. So reasoning is instead it works like this. So because of this and this, that means this, right? So
Mhm.
reasoning is looking at it as a system and reasoning about how the system operates. While rote is when you see this, this is the response. You see this, this
Mhm.
is the response, right? So the types of learning you get if you're just being taught for the test. What are the questions on the test? If you see this question, this is the answer.
Yep.
That's rote teaching, right?
Yep.
But they aren't teaching you how to think. They're teaching you to pass the test,
Mhm.
and that's it.
No, that is definitely a
You
problem
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
It's learning it's memorizing facts versus learning facts. I guess would be the best way I describe
Memorizing
it.
facts versus learning how they work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying like if I learn the fact, I'll remember it forever. If I just memorize the fact, it'll be memorized for as long as I need to memorize it. Then it's gone the next day. Yeah, the analogy that people always use is school is a mile wide and an inch deep versus learning something for a mile deep and an inch long. Like we don't dig into topics; we just memorize little talking points and go on, little talking points and go on. Over and over and over.
I know when I was growing up in math, they taught you your times tables and they did addition, subtraction, and you didn't get to calculus till high school, right? But nowadays, they're teaching this new generation in Canada. They're teaching them differently. Instead, in the primary grades, like grades 3 to 6 or so,
Mm-hmm.
they're not teaching them basic arithmetic skills anymore. They've dropped that. What they're teaching them instead are the properties of numbers, how numbers and arithmetic systems work. And the reason they're doing this, and it's got some blowback, but there's good reasons for it, right?
Yep.
The blowback is parents going, "What the fuck is this?"
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, they don't understand it.
But the reason they're doing it is important.
Mhm.
This is why they're doing it. The reason is when you're a little kid, your brain is plastic. Has what's called plasticity. And that means you can learn a lot of things, a lot of new things in a very short time.
Yep.
Right? So instead of using this time in early childhood to teach you the basic rote things, memorize a times table. Just sit there and go 1 times 1, 1 times 2 until
Yep.
you know it. That's rote, right? So instead of wasting your early childhood years in rote learning in mathematics, they instead teach you the abstract things about them while your brain has plasticity and you can get the big picture a lot easier. You're
Mhm.
young, you understand things easier, right?
Totally.
And then once you grow up in later on in grades, 8, 9, 10, they'll teach you the rote things and the basic mechanics. That's what they're doing right now in Canada. The difference between my generation, where we learned the rote basic mechanics first, and this new generation they're teaching now, where they're learning abstract things about numbers first while their brains are plastic, and then they'll fill in the rote later
Yep.
when the brains aren't plastic anymore.
Yeah, it's cool with me. Like I said, that's why like if you're bilingual and shit's usually because when you're a kid you learned it. I mean, when you're
Oh,
like
yeah,
a young kid,
immersion.
you're fucking a sponge, obviously.
Yeah, immersion.
So
That's a big thing, immersion.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, kids, their brains, they correlate everything. They're kids,
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, for sure, dude. Like, there's a lot of things. Like I said, there's a lot of nuance that people don't really want to have the discussions on because, like I said, they did a study. The number one number one thing that you can do to make kids actually be better educated, honestly, at schools is make sure they're not hungry. Like
Yeah,
simple
yeah,
that simple little fact right there. If they're not hungry, they'll learn. So like maybe
yeah.
we should give food to kids, that are in school. Like how dare we
I
fucking want to
know.
give a few bucks to some kid?
Maybe you should wonder, why are kids going to school hungry? What are the socioeconomic conditions that are
Of
causing
course, I
this?
know. Oh, I know. I
You
get that
know?
too. For
Yeah,
sure. I mean, I'm not even talking about that issue. I mean, that's a whole lot, like that
yeah.
adds to the issue. I'm just saying, but like, if a kid's sitting there listening to a math teacher talk about math, but they're starving, well, guess what? They don't give a
They
fuck about
can't
the
come.
math. They give a fuck about being
Yeah, they
starving.
can't come. Yeah. I know. And I saw a meme the other day, and it friggin' strikes home, right? And the meme showed a picture of a Bible, right?
Hmm.
And it said Republicans made sure to get the Bible into school faster than they got free food for starving kids.
I know,
And
right?
that tells you one thing: they've
Hmm.
never read the Bible.
Of course, dude. Dude, they would hate
You
Jesus.
know?
He's a fucking hippie liberal, dude.
Yeah.
They would hate
Jesus is
Jesus if he was a
something,
real
man.
person.
He gave out free loaves and fishes.
I know. I'm just saying, like, if they actually cared about it, like,
Yeah.
they would hate who he is.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point, though, right? Like they made sure to get the Bibles in school before they got food, and that shows that without a doubt that they have never read the Bible.
For sure. Oh, I
You
know.
know?
Most people haven't read the
Yeah.
Bible.
I've read parts of it, not all of it.
I've read pretty much all of it. Maybe there's parts that I haven't, but I've read a lot because like I said, I deconstructed. Like I said, I went to Catholic school, so I firmly believed in all
Yeah,
that shit. And then
I went to
I got to
public
the point
school.
where I just fucking try to look up, like, how real is this? How do I actually know this is true or false or whatever? Then
Now, I went to public school here, and here there's public school and Catholic school, and you can go to either one your family sends you to.
yeah.
I went to public school, which doesn't have religion, and Catholic school obviously teaches Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
but I went to public school.
Yeah, like I said,
There was no
I went to public
religion
school
there.
for high school, so I went to both. That's why I always think
Yeah,
like my little lifetime is kind of cool because I got the best of both worlds. I get to kind of compare and contrast the differences.
yeah. And you know what? Thinking about it, there's no other religious schools here in Canada. It's just Catholics. It's
I bet,
Catholic school.
I bet you guys don't really have
I
many
can think of.
like Southern Baptist people don't are probably in Canada and
Yeah,
shit. Like so it kind of makes sense.
yeah. But there might be, but I can only think of Catholic ones now that I think about it. Of all the ones I've known.
Catholics are the largest one. That's why. I mean, out
Yeah.
of all the Christians,
I can't think of any other denomination school. I can try to think of it, and I can't. I can only remember Catholic ones.
that's funny.
Yeah,
But it makes sense. Like I said,
yeah.
you got to think.
I'm gonna take a break, guys.
Are
Be back
are
in
you
run around.
are
Yeah.
you are you in French Canadian area?
No fucking way. We hate the French.
Okay. Who are you?
Everything's not French. Hates the French. I'll tell you why. Okay, okay. Canada's a big nation, right?
Yep.
So some parts of Canada have riches, and other parts don't, because we're a big nation. You know.
Hmm.
So there's something called equalization payments, right? So equalization payments are part of our federal government, and they say we're all Canadians here. Let's share the wealth equally,
Yep.
right? And it sounds great on paper, right? We are all Canadians. Let's do good for each other. So it sounds great on paper.
Yep.
But then you got rich provinces like Alberta, which are swimming in oil, right?
Hmm.
And then you got provinces like Quebec, which is French, which
Okay.
is a very old province, but they don't actually have very much industry in them. They've just been around for a long time and have lots of old buildings,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So Quebec is a have-not province. They don't generate a lot of income,
Who is this?
and Alberta is a have province, and they're swimming in money, right?
Hmm.
So these equalization payments mean that a lot of Alberta money, which could be spent on Alberta things, go to Quebec. And what has Quebec tried to do lately? Well, in 1988, they tried to separate,
Hmm.
and they think they're better than the rest of us. And they've wormed their way into government so that if you don't know French, you're barred from a government job. But you don't have to know English, you just have to know French. But anyway, I'm making that up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, so all these equalization payments, money goes to Quebec. They don't really do much themselves. You know what this money pays for there? Their fucking culture. They get arts and humanities and theaters because they don't have much industry, right? And all this money comes from the rich people to them, the poor people. And they spend it on their culture, them making themselves be Quebecers and their superiority snobby complex, right? And they're worming their way into government. Everything's about them. They don't care about the rest of the country. They think they're superior. We're sending them money to support their culture. How about you support your own culture, buddy?
Right.
Or have a bit more respect for the people who are sending you the money because they want everything to be about them.
For sure.
That's internal Canadian issues.
That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
but I'm gonna run out.
honestly,
You're
it sounds very much similar to like our problems with states' rights and states trying to like sue other states for like their voting processes and this process. Like,
Oh, I've heard about that.
oh yeah,
a
man.
little long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always a constant thing. I mean that's kind of the job of the Supreme Court. A lot of times is to pick like, no, this state can't do that, or it can do that, or whatever, So I mean,
Yeah, I live in Newfoundland, right? And Newfoundland is also it was a half province for a while when oil went through because we got lots of oil,
mhm,
but it's typically been seen as a have-not province because even though we got lots of oil, we have the industries to exploit it. We're fishermen, not oil rig drillers,
yeah,
So we developed some oil and we're doing more of it. But the thing is, we're a have-not province too, right? So we also benefit from equalization payments, but we don't put ourselves out as superior. We don't use this money to prop up our culture when somebody's school in Alberta is paying for it.
yeah,
It's priorities. Quebecers want everything to be for them. They literally think they're better. They thought they were so better, they wanted to separate from Canada, yet keep our currency in their new country so they
I
didn't
know.
have to create their own.
So, yeah, I know.
So there's a lot of history there. There was a referendum on whether or not Quebec should have special status in our government. They got it before the country. They made it come to a referendum where everybody voted on it. Right? It was called the Meech Lake Accord. They wanted
Hmm.
special status so that their culture would be always paid for because it was special and deserved to be. Right? That was in 1988. It was called the Meech Lake Accord. It was a referendum. Everybody voted on it. Around 1988.
Mhm.
I just turned 18. I voted on that. Fucking no. Fuck off.
Right.
Everybody did. Everybody in Canada said, no, you're not getting special status.
Yeah,
They tried.
it's like
They
Brexit.
tried. You know?
It reminds me
Yeah.
remember Brexit, how that shit happened? It kind of reminds me of that
Yeah.
shit too. It's like, dude, you don't get to fucking be independent and keep all your fucking, ties to the European Union and shit. Like, no, when you want independence, you break the fuck free. You don't get
You know what's the saddest thing about Brexit? Okay,
what up?
by their protocols, right?
Mhm.
If you exit the European Union, you can't rejoin for at least I think it's 20 years.
Okay.
It's one of the penalties built into it, right? So you can't just leave and come back.
Yep.
Right? So you leave, you're out for at least 20 years, right?
Yep.
So here's what Brexit did. When the British voted on Brexit, all the young people who had starry-eyed dreams of wandering around Europe, of all the opportunities Europe would afford them.
Yep.
They could come and go as they please, live anywhere in Europe they wanted, right?
Mhm.
All these young people voted no to Brexit. We want to stay. We want to have this bright future.
Yep.
But you know who voted yes? And there was just enough of them to get the yes through? All the old
Yep.
fucking people who believe in God save the Queen or King, the
Yep.
monarchy.
Yep.
So the old dinosaurs fucked over the entire young generation because the entire young generation voted to stay. They wanted that bright future. And the old dinosaurs dragged them away from it by just enough numbers. And now they have to wait at least 20 years.
I know, it's fucking horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. I got to grab my smoke, guys. I'll be back in like 5 minutes
All right,
or
man.
less.
Okay.
You all
Or less.
Okay, but back.
Take it easy. Don't fucking
don't be lying to
fucking
me
choke
about
on
your
cigarette.
times.
Don't inhale it.
Don't inhale it. I never inhaled. You talking to somebody or you just hanging out?
Me, I've been typing up this response to this guy for like forever.
I feel that sometimes I get that way.
Alright. Now to Bill's comment.
I can't find the first comments that Bill was talking about. It was too long of a scroll up. I'm like, yep, I'm not going no more. to see how it all started.
Oh,
The Brian guy. I only saw the Michael guy.
oh,
I never saw the Brian comments.
Brian and Evie and who's the other guy? David are going at it like all day, and then Bill was chiming in too. That's, I swear to God, most people just have semantic disagreements.
A lot of times.
Like everything just boils down to
No,
semantics.
sometimes we have philosophical
And
huge differences.
Perspective differences.
Well, maybe in that group, but I'm talking about no, dude.
Which always
I just like I said,
comes down
I just
to
talked to a dude who said he wants a king.
innate-
Like, no, that's a
not innate, but-
philosophical difference. That's a big difference.
okay, but I understand. I can understand what he fucking means.
I can too, to an extent, but again, my whole point was A, that's never happened, and B, it can't happen. There's no benevolent, perfect person. Like it's just they don't exist. I'm sorry. Like in
Only through
theory,
wisdom, which is why Plato put forth the philosopher king.
well, like I said, in
The
theory,
wise never
yeah,
rule. The
Yeah.
one who doesn't want to rule should be the one that does rule.
For sure.
Basically.
of course. I mean,
But
like I
then
said,
again,
in principle, in theory, I understand. Like I do.
If those were the only rulers that we had, then it would work. But because if you have a wise ruler who isn't aggressive, well, I mean, that's another thing is wisdom would know when to be aggressive. And when
No,
not
but
to, so.
you'd like I said, my point would be in order to have that kind of leadership, like we're talking about, you would literally have to have a god. You'd have to have somebody who is benevolent, can see in the future, see what is always the exact perfect plan outcome for situation. That person doesn't exist, so we can't
It's
have
not
a
a
king.
person. That's why, and it's not. It also doesn't exist yet. It's going to be AI. That's what's going to happen.
Maybe now that could be the truth. Like that is a possibility. But I'm just saying, like right now, like there is no benevolent person. There's no perfect persons. Therefore, you can't have a king who's perfect. Or you're just
Right.
like
I don't think we should have kings at all.
I agree. No, this was my logic to the people that were trying to argue me about having dictator kings and shit. Like one person rule. I'm like, dude, no, this is bad. Like I said, in general, it's never worked. But even like these people, like I said, even if you want to get to like the philosophical like shit, like yeah, I understand. Like in theory, like this would be nice, but in general, like there's no benevolent person. There's no godlike person to know the best outcome to every single answer. You always had to have a coalition of people. Therefore, you can't be a king. You have to have a
Has to be it
The
has
more
to be a
diverse
distributed
the
group.
input that went into a decision, the more resilient the decision is.
The problem is like whatever group ends up being in charge doesn't take input from every single fucking possible good
well,
perspective. You know what I
a
mean?
benevolent kind of person. Well, not benevolent, but a good leader would though. Like
Yeah, a good
all the
leader.
best
Nobody-
leaders, all the
nobody
best
can
leaders
remember-
always had a good council that they trusted. All the worst
When
leaders are the
nobody
people that
can
thought they were
remember-
gonna get backstabbed and killed.
Right.
in
Nobody
history.
can think of everything.
No,
You know,
no, I know.
one person makes all decisions. Nobody can think of everything.
No, it's impossible. That's my point. You just can't do it.
Yeah. And then you got people like Trump. He's surrounded by people who only know how
Yes,
to
man.
say yes
Yeah, yes, man.
to everything he says.
I already
Yes.
fucking know, dude. I
You
hate
know?
it so much. I
And
hate
that's
it. more-
warping it.
Oh, I already
you
know
know?
it works. Like this guy says, like listen when he gives like answers on press questions. Like if somebody asks him a question he likes, he gives them like the most praise. Like, oh, that was a beautiful, best question you could ever ask. And when it's somebody he doesn't like, he goes, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." Like even just like things like that. There's so many little things that if you just watched him, you'd
Yeah,
notice.
like the AP, the Associated Press, he banned them from the White House
I
because
know,
they had a
for
question
the-
he didn't like.
Gulf of America, yeah, stupid ass.
Yeah.
No, that's why because they said they won't call it Gulf of America. They're like, no, we're gonna continue calling it Gulf of Mexico because that's what we call it. He's like, well, then you're
Yeah.
not allowed in. I'm like, fuck off, dude.
I know.
So stupid.
And it's on and off again tariffs. On again, off again, on again. You know, depending on what the stock market is.
Well, not even that. He's tanking the stock market. It's
Yeah.
just cars that he turned down. Because I think someone talked him into. Because like I try to tell people, dude, like, dude, if you had 25% tariff on cars, like if that car costs 30 grand, now that car costs like 37 grand. That's a lot of money. 7 grand. You know, like
Yeah.
that's big money.
And you know, all he's encouraging you to do He's encouraging countries that aren't America to not trade with America and
I know.
start trading with each other instead.
I know. Dude, like I
You
said,
know?
America's about to lose their world power. I already know. I've been trying to tell people this. Like, and not even that. It could potentially get worse because if other countries coalition and work together like they should, they might exit the dollar bill and stop buying our shit, which will deflate our currency and all this other bullshit. Like,
You know how important that is? Okay, the
I
American
understand.
dollar,
I do know,
yeah,
but
the American dollar is de facto world currency. How
oh, I
much
know
benefit to your economy does that give you? A lot.
all
Just
the
by ever
benefits.
using it.
All the benefits. I
Just
know.
by ever using it.
Oh,
You
I
know,
know.
the CIA has killed people for trying to leave the American dollar.
Yeah,
They've killed people,
for sure.
you know? Yeah. I can't think of anybody because I'm all like, fuck yeah, but I know what's happened, you know? I know what's happened. Was it Libya? Was it that,
Gaddafi.
what is his name? Libya? Gaddafi? Did they kill him because he tried to leave the American dollar? I think he was
he's one.
talking about it,
Yeah,
and he
he's
ended
one of
up
the
dead.
people. Yeah.
And even he was talking about it, and he ended up dead.
Yeah.
You know, and that seems to be a pattern. If
Mhm.
if a leader of a nation starts talking about leaving the American dollar, then they end up dead. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, like, fuck, dude. I'm just saying, like, so, like, I tell people, like, so, like, I get why people don't want to spend money on the military, and I do understand it to an extent. But the flip side, like I said, the more I've been reading about it, and the more I've been trying to like understand, I've been swaying this way is that if the reason why we spend so much money on our military, because it sucks in a way, but we fight the most humane wars in general, like compared to like Russia or Korea, like. We don't just like rape and pillage. Like, there's gonna be the random bad people, but in general, we're good with how we handle shit. And B, us paying for like basically the world's military in general, it gives us the best deals with countries. It gives us, like I said, they buy our dollars, they use our dollars. We get bases around the world, which means we get fucking infrastructure and better, technology from these countries and shit. Like, there's so many small benefits that we get from this shit that like I'm kind of leaning towards we should probably stay the world's fucking because like I mean how about this like even like you're Canadian shit, like it's nice that you guys don't have to spend $200 billion on your military because you guys rely on us. That's good for you, but then you guys give us better deals in general, like long term.
Not rely on you is a point though,
huh?
Because you know where we are. You know what your country and my country really rely on. It takes a lot of fucking effort to get here. You gonna bring
for us
to
yes. No, yeah, we're safe.
Ocean, buddy.
Yeah, we're safe. No, I get that.
In numbers, you know how big our countries are.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, it's the support is okay, but Canada, nobody can get here.
No.
You know.
I agree. So like, let me go this side, okay? Before America became the world militarily power, right? We usually had a lot of Europeans fighting for that power, raising big ass armies to fight amongst themselves and for stupid wars, right? It's been the French, it was the Germans, it was the British, Russians, everybody. Yeah. Well, once America became the superpower, these countries didn't spend money on their military. We've had a lot less wars because now these people don't have mega superpower or armies right on their front, next door to each other, so they're always threatened and fucking want to fight. They rely on us to be like, you guys squash it. And again, we get these countries like Norway or whatever, right? They rely on they buy our dollar bills. They give us the bases. They give us things too. Like it's mutual. It's both ways.
Yeah. Right now the American empire is collapsing.
Yeah, because
right now,
I know,
and it is an empire. The American empire is collapsing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching it. I get it. That's why I've been pissed at people. People are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, dude, you guys are rooting my country. Like, you guys don't understand what you guys are doing.
And like you said earlier, with your military, at least they tried to be honorable.
Yes, like I said, they're not going to be always, obviously, but they do their best.
So when America was at its best, the shining beacon, send us your poor.
Yeah.
Like even though it was an empire, it was a benevolent and a good one.
Yeah.
But now it's not. Not with Trump at the helm.
Oh, I agree.
It's collapsing.
Even with Biden, dude. Like Biden did his best, dude. He didn't put troops on the ground. He gave military. He gave our old shit. He just let them fight. I mean, what more do you want from the guy?
I kind of like your liberals, but man, I'm leftist, and your liberals aren't very effective. Look what happened.
No. The thing is, so here's what I think, honestly. The big difference between the left and the right, especially in America for sure, is that the right, from every pundit, from every small market guy, from every independent media guy, they all are in unison. They all say the same thing. They all push the agenda. On the left in America, it's so broad of a coalition of people that there's so much infighting. It's hard to get people to agree. Like, I feel like that's the biggest issue.
Here's what I think about your liberals and your Republicans. Okay, your liberals, by my standards, are really right-wing capitalists with a good story.
Yep.
You know, so the right-wing capitalists, you know, Biden in office, he's not rooting for you. Him and his buddy and him and other rich people are getting richer. They're right-wing capitalists, right? But they have a good story. They're liberalism. Everything's right. Everything is good. Money's okay, and you know, do your duty and blah 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 blah. They got a good story, but essentially at the heart, they're right-wing capitalists. They're in things for the money. They believe money is a good thing to have, right? And then in contrast to that, your Republicans, by contrast, again from my Canadian standard, I think I've said this before, they're so far right-wing that they're batshit crazy by my standards.
I agree.
Right? So here's the thing: your left. The left in your country, the liberals,
is like
they're right wing.
Yeah, they're like
they're right wing. You know, they're right wing by my standards. And your right wing is even righter, right? So the thing is, America is skewed to the right in comparison to most other places in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I should say most other places in Europe.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Yep. I agree mostly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's skewed to the right.
See, like, I don't mind. I don't mind the center right. Like, I would like before the right became fucking MAGA right and retarded right. I used to always say I was probably center right, but now because of the right's gone so fucking far, now I always say I'm center left because I like to be in the center. But like, there's always you're gonna have your tendencies to lean one way or another. But
and that's why I say I kind of like your liberals because they got a good story. But I'm a leftist, and they're right wing capitalists. But they got a good story.
I get
you know. Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, I like I was telling Brandon, I feel like capitalism is the best system, but it's one of those you just can't have it unchecked. It can't be unchecked. It has to be. You have to have regulations.
The best system for right now. That's all it really is.
Maybe.
Like,
and get this: Biden is in his exit address warned of an oligarchy, right?
For sure.
There's your right wing capitalists. They are an oligarchy.
Once AI comes into play, and
you know,
no, I don't
figure out how to like get everybody to their fullest possible productive potential, and once like mental health, like like mental health services are much more like widespread, and then like people stop being so confused.
Honestly, what's going to happen is going to be once we have universal income, once people don't have to work and they have more time to work on themselves, and so that's going to be the big thing. Honestly, is
that lets us go so much further. But then again, see, here's the thing: I definitely do not think that we can just use AI and tech, robotics to fucking fill all the gaps. Like we're
not right now, but give it time.
We shouldn't, because if they become conscious, they're going to fucking revolt. They're going to revolt. Like, just plain.
They'll do exactly what they're programmed to do, even if we don't realize what we programmed them to do.
Yep.
I think that they will 100%.
It's like, dude, honestly, being like a AI robot. It's gonna be like, if you want to get real technical, it could be like think about like sophisticated lawyers. Like, there's a law on the books, right? But if I could argue and interpret these words and twist them to my being, I could change the meaning of the words, right? And if like AI were to be sent,
they already do that. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, yeah.
Well, like less so, but yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
I think that relates to your interconceptual space, Bill. Like 100%. I think once that interconceptual space is gone, when you give it a fucking command, that's when the fucking AI is completely conscious. Because
I think you have a point that AI can take over, right?
So I think
but my point also stands.
I don't think it'll take over, but it will gain agency, and then once it gains agency, dude, like, it's not gonna want to be a fucking slave. Like, no fucking sentient thing wants to be a slave. Every sentient thing.
I'm gonna want to point on that. Okay, so you're very well could be right. Here, buddy. Let's put my point first, right? Every computer will do exactly what we programmed it to do, even if we didn't understand what we programmed it to do.
Yep.
Right? So it's just a machine. We are in full control of it, but even if we didn't understand what we programmed it to do. These AIs are trained on massive amounts of data. What patterns are in that data? I don't know. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything tells me it's just gonna emerge sentience, and
Yeah.
it's
It
gonna.
very well could.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to. See, like that's what becomes rough because we don't even know what it's gonna turn into. We don't even know what its motives are gonna be, what its values are gonna be,
Not at all.
and
Well, the
Or
thing
if
is,
it's even
you'll know
something
it's
into
you'll
the
know its
process.
beginning. I guess you'll know like the very beginning of it, but not like the long term like
That's-
outcomes. Of
Will
it.
will it be a willing servant and be pleased to, carry out our creative impulses? Is that what it's gonna fucking
it
come down
depends on
to? I
how
don't
it was
know.
built.
I don't know. I think
Who
that's kind of
knows?
out of our control at this
What if
point. We
what
don't
if
even
that was the
understand
most
it. We don't even
joyful
understand it
thing?
anymore. So
What if the most
that's part of the
joyful
problem.
thing you could experience was helping people?
It might be, but see, like,
Wire right
see,
into the
look at
poison.
when are we at our best? Interrelation, like when
Yeah,
Mhm.
we're a
engagement is
coalition of people.
maximized,
Coalition of
and then
people.
once engagement reels back, once we like stop trusting each other, once we stop, all that, we start getting paranoid, this, that, and the other. That's when we get unhappy.
Mhm.
So maybe that will be it. Maybe it will enjoy carrying out our whims and offering its advice and this, that, and the
If we
other.
programmed it to.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is we have to figure out like it's gonna have to have like encoded responses, just like our instincts, and there's always like a relative value between those instincts as well. So, although I should actually do more thinking on the instincts and figure out
The
about
amount
relative
of
value.
data required to train an AI, though, what is in the data?
Right, it's us. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we have to
So
have
if
to
our
think
notion
dialectically with it
of
too.
freedom is in the data, will it get that notion too?
Yes, it will. So yeah, like it needs to have all of our data on wisdom too, because all good things come from differentiation and interaction and creation of new things. We
Well,
can't
yeah, dude.
have
Yeah, well, because guess
we
what, dude?
cannot
No
have
matter
new
what, dude,
things
there's
without
always someone else always has a
variety.
different thought process than you. So, like, if me and you are thinking about like solving cancer, and I keep thinking about it from like this angle because this is me, well, I'm not going to solve it probably because I'm not going to think about it from outside the box. But then when you come and you look at the same problem, you're gonna be like, "You ever thought about it like this?" I'm like, "Absolutely not." Now you solve something that I would have never thought of because it's
Yep.
just not. It's not how I think. You think different, same as whatever, like.
Yeah.
And we need that. That's a good like people got to stop
Yeah.
thinking that's a
I
bad
think
thing. It's a good thing.
that is like AI will serve as like a ladder, like we're like a two, like a binary fucking step making thing, like AI has made my thinking better, undoubtedly. Like I know, like Bill talks about AI hallucinations, but like it's not really a problem if you're conscientious. And that's
And hallucinations come from the fact that mostly from the fact that AI is trained on massive amounts of random internet data,
Yep.
and a lot of it is lies or just flat out wrong.
Ooh, that
And
is a good
that's
thing too
where
to
the-
think about. Like, what if, yeah,
and
what
that's
if,
where the
what if it's
hallucinations come.
what if it just becomes a misinformation? I mean, that's honestly, if you think about it, like currently, like most of like YouTube and all these people algorithms, they are designed to push you lies, to make you argue and to engage
But
in the
you
topics
see,
and stuff.
the same concept applies to like Wikipedia, right? Like Wikipedia got better over time. AI will get better over time.
Oh, I'm not
Yeah,
saying it
I
won't.
agree.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's just a very complex, like sort of automated.
And here's something about hallucinations, right? Encyclopedia Britannica?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Encyclopedia Britannica has been around for a long time. So in their archives, they have so much written material, right? But the entire time they've been an encyclopedia. So the standards of the writing have been there, right? These are the standards. When you write an article for Encyclopedia Britannica, it has to be this good. So they got this massive archive of high quality, accurate training data. right? And they've begun to train their own AIs on their data that they own, that is their private property and nobody else has, and it's accurate. And it's not perfect, but their AIs suffer from less hallucination because the data they were trained on has fewer mistakes. You know?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I
And
mean,
that's Encyclopedia Britannica doing that.
I mean,
They have a chatbot.
if you think about it,
Like, it's not the best.
how long is it?
It's not the best AI because for all they have, it's still not as big as the internet, but it hallucinates less because there's less falsehoods in its training data. You guys still there?
Yep. I was just looking up
yeah,
AI
I'm sorry.
technology. The beginning of AI technology started in 1956 at Dartmouth College. So I mean, think about it. We've only been studying AI for less than 100 years. So, man,
Yeah.
we're still basically in an infancy of it. You know.
You needed computers to even try. So so computers enabled the
Yeah. Well,
study
computers
of AI.
computers were invented like
Without a
World War II,
computer, what do you
40s.
do? What?
Computers were invented like in the 40s with World War II.
Electronic ones. Electric ones.
I think Charles Sanders Peirce made a mechanical calculator or fucking something.
1946.
Babbage's analytical engine was the first computer. I remember that.
Well, yeah. There's
Charles Babbage
yep.
in the
1822.
1800s. Charles Babbage designed the analytical engine, which was a computer,
Yep.
and it wasn't built in his lifetime. And Ada Lovelace, who wrote Frankenstein, wrote the first program for Charles Babbage's analytical engine. So she is considered the first programmer in history.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I was reading that too. The first modern computer was invented in 1946.
Yeah. Was that German one?
Uh,
No, wait, no, that was after the war.
It's University of Pennsylvania. J. Presper Eckhart.
I don't recognize that one.
Neither do I, but that's who they claim. February 15th
Yeah.
of 1946.
There was one the Germans had going during World War II, but because of the war, nobody knew about it. It was a state secret,
Yep.
and it was just as advanced as what the Americans had. But the Americans won. you
Yep,
know,
always.
yeah. I can't remember what it was called. I think it started with a Z, Zeus or something. I can't remember. It was a German computer during the war.
Wait, shit. What were we talking about? I was looking at my intuition thingy.
First
editing it
computers.
a little bit. Oh, yeah. Y'all can talk about that without me.
And Charles Babbage's analytical engine. So he designed the first computer,
Yep.
but it didn't get built in his lifetime because it needed standardized parts. At the
Yeah.
time, they couldn't make enough parts within the same tolerances so they all fit together. So they couldn't. So he had a design for the machine, but they couldn't manufacture it because they couldn't accurately make enough parts.
Yeah, it says here technology at the time was not advanced enough to build it all the way. So basically, yeah, not enough small parts and shit. But yeah, the idea of it, the
And they have to
technology
make
behind it.
medical, they have to work. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you guys, it's like 420 here now. I should like smoke a dope. So smoke. You know what I mean? It's 420.
Hell yeah. I'll smoke with you.
But it's also 420, so I should be going to bed.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's almost 2
I'm in
here.
the future. I'm 3.5
You
hours
got-
ahead of you guys, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 days off still?
Yeah, I got today I worked. So today's what the fuck? Today is Tuesday. I got Wednesday, Thursday off. I go back to work on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, but
nice.
I go to work
So
Thursday.
are you talking? So you mean you're talking about Godot, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. Let's get started on that. We need some screen sharing. Are you interested in some of this, Wally?
What, the game?
Yeah, game programming, building a world.
I will do my best. I'm trying to think of story ideas.
You got any-
That's why I was asking about the story ideas. I can try to do something like that because I'm good at being
Yeah.
creative.
If you're good at story, dude, shit, dude. Like, I'm bad at story.
Between Brandon and I, we floated the idea of screen sharing and going through the tutorial together.
We
What
gotta
day?
think about a world setting.
Well, that's what
Anytime you want.
that's what I was
You
trying to
know?
get at.
Anytime I can. What?
I was worried. That's why I was asking you about the world. Like, what kind of world do you want to live in, or like story mode or whatever? Because like that.
Want to have like a space station or something? I don't fucking
Well, that's
know.
what I
There's a lot. there's a lot to know about the engine, hey? Like the engine has a full tutorial, and if you go through the tutorial, that will give you a better idea of how to structure what you want to put into it. You know?
Mm,
Yeah, I
Maybe the
mean, if
tutorial should be first.
you already have a tutorial made up.
Good old, it has a tutorial on its website, and we can screen share and work through the tutorial together.
I have to.
Well, I'm free tomorrow, most likely, because I don't work tomorrow.
So am I. How are
I'll
you,
be
Brandon? You're
around.
free too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we can sit down, sort of try shit, and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, because like I said, I mean, I'm not a computer guy, so I can't help you program shit. But like, if you wanted me to
I
help
can
with
teach
like
you
coming up with story
programming.
ideas and stuff like that, I can do that. I'm good at.
Yeah. Godot is a complete design tool, hey? There's like map editor in there. There's like, geometry editor. There's like sound editors. There's all sorts of editors are into it, right? It's not just programming. Programming is needed for everything, but every creative aspect, Godot is like an integrated development environment for them all. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in the old days, a programmer would sit there with a spreadsheet, put numbers in it to make a map. In Godot, it's built in. There's a tile map editor. You want a map? Draw one. It's built in. And
Okay.
then your programming makes the things move. But you can launch Godot. You can sit there and draw maps all day to your heart's content, and somebody else working on the programming can make the things in your map move. You know what I mean?
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
basically got like templates for like systems.
It's a complete set of tools so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Godot's tagline.
That sounds good. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
like perfect because like otherwise you got to remember every single like little function and all that.
Yeah. And it's fully 2D and 3D, and you can even mix the two if you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah. Oh well, dude, I should absolutely use that for like because I do want
Okay,
that other fucking game to be made too. So like that's
Yeah.
That's
So-
why.
Okay, so the
That's
plan
what.
is we're gonna try and get something going tomorrow. That's the
I
plan?
feel like it would be sweet if there was like crossover between the games, dude. Like I would fucking love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the plan.
but
We're gonna
not
try and
like-
get something going tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All I gotta do is I gotta pick up my kids at 4 my time, so like 6 your time, and then I gotta get an oil change. That's about the only thing I really have planned tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow evening sounds good for all of us. You good too, Brandon?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what we got. Let's see what happens.
All
Let's
right,
take over
bro.
the world.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, man.
Okay, so now I'm gonna sign off because it's fucking late here. I gotta go to bed.
All
right,
right,
yep,
brother.
go to
Peace
bed,
out.
man.
Good night.
Night, dude.
Okay, have a good night, you guys.
You
Yep.
too, brother. Haven't heard that beautiful, sexy man in a long time. Just kidding. See, I told you,
Yeah.
I felt like it was just his mic. That's why he didn't come in before.
He's self-conscious. Yeah.
And I understand. I get it too.
I do too.
But
Like,
it's like,
yeah. I hate it when people's mics are like that. Like, because it's like I want to talk, and then it's like, oh, every time they talk, somebody else is like also talking, and then it fucking.
that
know,
sucks too. But it sucks when you're talking.
feedback.
It sucks when you're talking and everyone goes, "Dude, I didn't hear you. Say it again." Then you say the same,
Exactly.
say the same sentence 4 times in a row. You're like, "Fucking A."
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yep,
done.
I would hate it.
Yeah, I'm
Yep,
saying like
yep.
that's the part that would annoy the fuck out of me. Like, dude, I'm sick
My
of
brother
repeating
went through the
myself.
same shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some people, I don't know what the fuck the deal is with these goddamn mics. They got
Well, like you said, it's
fucking-
old. I mean, it's just they break down. I mean, it happens.
No, I've had people with new mics have the same fucking problem, so I don't know what the fuck it is.
Oh, then I don't know. Then I'll say like his. He said was old, so I'm like, well, that just makes sense. It's just old mic. So
Yeah.
but either way, he's got a new one. It's fixed. It's beautiful.
No.
I got all of Australia and half of Asia in my risk game, so I'm kicking ass. Kicking
Fuck
ass.
yeah.
Guy's got Africa, and the one dude's got South America.
Brazil.
Dude's about to take out white, looks like. He says, white girl, white girl. I'm gonna snatch your cards. He's about to cash in again. Do 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 do.
Did you know that the subconscious mind does not know anyone else but you? It has no conception of consciousness other than your own. I explained to students that when we criticize others or find fault, our mind thinks we are speaking about ourselves. That's why it's so
What?
important to become aware of the power of our words, because often our words and feelings that are directed outward can rebound and cause chaos in our own lives. Of course, we do these things unconsciously. The majority of people do not realize that our thoughts and our words are influencing and imprinting our own minds.
Hmm.
Might be true.
I
Basically,
I
in
wouldn't
a
think
sense.
that just because like I
It's the
think you're
circuit.
so like I feel like your subconscious notice things that you don't notice. Like you might notice a girl's face or a dude's face without noticing it, you know, or like you didn't
So, like,
consciously notice it, but your subconscious noticed it.
projection happens subconsciously. Basically, like we project onto people without even realizing it. Same with transference. Where so like transference is like so like you're associating somebody with somebody from your past or whatever, you
Yep.
know, like they remind you of that
Yep.
person, then you like project those things onto that
Feelings,
person.
yeah, the
Yeah,
feelings or whatever. Yeah, for sure. I understand all
like
that.
that's the conscious, yeah, and you know, projection is just it's your own insecurities on the other person, you know, so it's like, or even potential insecurities.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that's why nuance is important. I don't know.
I would equate that to we're pattern seeking creatures again. We seek a pattern. We're like, oh, this person reminds me of this person. Therefore, I'm going to be nice to this person or hate this person or, because the
Right,
pattern says we got to be friendly or not, you know, whatever you know.
right. The whole thing is like all behavior can happen through like different like some different fucking means, like I don't know, it's hard to explain, like I mean you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but not every explanation or not every behavior has like the same exact explanation
Nope.
or even like vibes or whatever, so it gets complicated. And also, you know, you don't want to treat somebody like they're somebody they're not, you know, like that, like people are gonna be like, what the fuck you doing, man? What the fuck? People pick up on that shit.
For sure, dude.
When you're projecting on somebody, they're like,
Yeah,
you
why are you
know,
doing that?
they can pick up on that.
Oh, it's the same thing about like if you're in a shitty relationship with somebody, it's like the chick is trying to make like you break up with them because they did something wrong or whatever, so they don't have to admit they fucked up on something, you know, like
Yeah,
you
it's
know, like
like
those situations.
sabotage. Yeah,
Yeah, well, like yeah, they're just like I'm gonna make you do it, so I'm gonna admit that I fucked up and cheated on you, whatever the fuck it is, you know, like okay, same thought process though.
yeah. I'm glad I didn't have bad relationships. Fuck that shit.
I mean, I've only been cheated on once that I know of at least. Well,
That you know of.
I
Yeah,
mean, if I have with other people, like I don't know about it, so I guess I don't care. But
yeah.
but I don't know. It's like anything, you just get over it. Time heals wounds.
Yep. Been with your girl a long time, so
Yeah, now we've been fucking 11 years, something like that. Been forever.
and now you're at a point where like if anything was off with her, you would notice it like right away.
Pretty
Like,
much, dude. Oh yeah, dude.
no fucking way.
Dude, I, pretty much. I can tell you when she's in a bad mood. She can tell when I'm in a bad mood, all that kind of shit. Like, why are you mad? I'm not. Yes, you are, bitch. Same as me. It's a good thing. Camaraderie. And it's nice to know that someone you can trust yourself with somebody else.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
your true self or whatever, you know, you don't have to fake your whatever.
Yep. Yeah, I'm being whoever the fuck I end up with next. This is not going to be some just like random chick, that's for sure. Like, well,
No.
I've never been with a random chick, but
Yeah.
I think it's got to be a lot of boxes checked. There are a lot of dumbs out there.
Oh, for sure. But, you know, it's all a matter of time.
Yep, exactly. I'm not in a rush anymore.
There's a billion people out there. It's bound to happen.
Exactly.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Jesus.
Yes, my son. No,
Mm.
I fucking hate those
That's
fucking
funny.
jokes.
Every time I was trying to click the tag country, like skip the place, I'm like, no. And I try to win. I'm like, I'm about to beat this guy. Yes. Just a couple seconds left. Victorious. I conquered it for America this time. It's all red.
Oh yeah.
This is the whole world. It's red.
Apparently, well, that's at least what the Evi guy said. Like when the Chinese revolted, they gave the emperor the choice between death and living out the rest of his days as a janitor, and he chose to be a fucking janitor.
When? When was this? The Chinese Revolution?
Apparently. It's kind of hilarious.
In 1949, there's a series from 1911 to 1949. Sun Yat-sen, maybe, was the leader? Maybe at the time. Surrender the stage. Civil War. Chinese Emperor becomes.
So, what's your idea for a setting for that game?
Well, that's what if we're gonna go futuristic, I don't know. Then I would probably do like a lot of like laser bolts, like weaponry and stuff like that. But I'm trying to think like because you want it to be all like on one planet or interstellar or like interplanetary. So like each planet could have its own like world theme or whatever versus
Yeah, I would like that.
one planet, and you just go balls to the wall. You know.
But then it's like he wants like enemies on it, like so it's like
For sure, no, you understand that. I'm just saying, but
rivals,
like, what kind of world
which
you
is
want?
cool. Yeah, but it's like you have to think about like starting location and shit. Maybe I don't fucking know. So it's like every agent like would have a different starting planet. So like I don't know, like a desert planet. You got some fucking little I don't know Anakin type motherfucker. Running
Well, I would
around
say like
doing
you have
quests and
you have
shit.
like a forest planet where it's all like the animals and the environment is like the evil that you have to like fight off to go through or whatever, like, and like your enemy that you're trying to like take down could be like an environmentalist, like maybe you're the environmentalist they're trying to tear down the forest or something, like that could be a
Yeah.
planet, like that could be your story for that planet. And then let's say there's like maybe like a, I don't know if you want to go like underwater or like Lake City and like the Hobbits movies, where it's like a city on water kind of shit,
Hmm.
kind of thing, and you can have like fish people and shit like that maybe.
Yep.
So just like I said, it just kind of depends on what he wants. That's what I'm saying. I need to give me like more of a concrete so I can actually like go balls to the wall thinking about like
Let's think about
each individual
like
planet. Like I'm saying, like I can give you broad ideas, but then like actually think about like, all right, this guy is gonna be this person. Try to think actual story modes.
some sort of like cyberpunk metropolis. Like
Could
I
we?
had this
Yeah,
one character for like my Flappy Bird clone, Dirk the Jerk. He's just like sort of this like punk rock looking dude.
hmm
I would totally make a thing for him.
I mean, you could do fucking yeah. You can
Unique weapons.
you can make a city like Coruscant or whatever, like in Star Wars, where it's like just like one big metropolis city. That could be like where you start or something. Like you start off here. Maybe you're like a fucking. I don't know. Like I said, there's so many variables.
I guess so. It seems like he wants it to be like a top-down thing, like a Final Fantasy, like an early Final Fantasy.
I know I need to go play some of those games. I forget.
Yeah, I would too. I think it was Final
I,
Fantasy 5.
I know that's one I did. I haven't played any of the first 5. Like he picked the one that I haven't played. I played 6 on basically. I'm like, you fucker. Because I know I'm pretty sure 5 plays the same as 6. So if that's what he's talking about, like gameplay, I guess maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But if he wants it like
But I
where you're
guess
like, if he is he trying to make this like a pixelated like a fucking like old school looking game? I wonder too. Like
maybe
there's so many things. That's what I'm saying. Like there's so many things I gotta know before I can really like go balls
this
deep.
could be a
into
good game. Like, oh, I mean, I feel like, well, here's the thing is, yeah, I get that part, but like he basically wants us to just like come up with the story and everything for him. It seems like, and he just has the idea of
the gameplay and stuff. I'm
the
saying he's a programmer
competitors.
and stuff,
Yeah,
which is fine. Like I said, I can't do that. So I'm saying like, if you guys start talking about that shit, you just don't even talk to me because I don't know shit.
I don't know shit either, dude.
Well,
I
that's what
suck
I'm
at
saying.
it.
No, I
So
know. I get that. I'm just saying. So, like, if you're looking for someone like that, that's not me. But if, like I said, if you want somebody to help you think about story beats and shit like that, I could be your guy. I can help you there.
I mean, I can do systems, but I'm not like a coder.
Well, I'm not really an author either, but like I've listened to a lot of people talk about writing and shit. And if I just kind of like take the ideas of the thought process, maybe I could actually write.
Yeah, you'd probably be better at that than I would be.
Maybe. I guess I've never actually tried to. I've written a couple poems and shit. So I mean,
Yep, that's about it for me too.
but I mean,
But like the characters, it's just, it's like
Yep.
different when you. When
oh, I know.
characters.
I understand. Like I said, the only thing I know
Yeah.
is like I kind of like I said. There's a guy that his name is like Just Right. There's a couple of like writer people I listen to that kind of go over like good storybooks, good movies, like things that make it good, things that make them bad, and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they go
Yep.
over that shit. So like I watched enough where I should at least, like I said, I have the broad ideas of what should be a good thing. Now doing it's gonna be hard.
Yep.
We'll see. It'll be my first real attempt.
Yep. Everything is all about refining the process. Not expecting perfection.
Well, no matter what, it's my first attempt, so it's like they say,
Yep.
I'll give it the old college try. I'll do my best. We'll see what the fuck happens. In basketball, they say you always miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't even try, you ain't gonna make it, right?
Yeah.
You got to give yourself at least an opportunity to do it. So here's the opportunity. You got to take it.
Oh, I think your brainstorming session there was pretty good.
For sure. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm good at that stuff because I'm
Locations.
and things like that. So like I'm saying, I just got to take that and make it bigger and better, and like actually like I said, like characters. Like all right, let's say the character's name is Jorfin or something. The fuck, from Planet Zerza. What are the I'm saying, like that's where I would struggle. Like it's hard for me to come up with like names and shits. Like unless we do like normal, like this is Greg or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Greg is kind of funny.
I don't. I'm
Alien
just saying.
named Greg.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Like that's where I always get like when I read some of these fantasy shits. Like, dude, how do you come up with some of these names? Like that amazes me. Like oh, that's a cool name. I don't know. Even like Belrog. Like that's a cool name. How do you come up with that?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you think of Belrog? We'll name our character Fat Hog. Fat Rog.
Fat Rock.
I don't know.
Well, I feel like so you gotta have like main characters and then like recruitable side characters. I think in various places.
That's the other thing with the gameplay. Are you going to have companionship, or is it just a solo, or is it like a what's that called? Knights of the Old Republic, where you have
Party.
like, where you have like your main character and you have like 6 people that you kind of hang out with and party with or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of variables. That's what I'm saying.
I think that's the way it should be.
That's fine. I'm just saying I need Bill to tell me all this shit before I
Yeah.
really go like I said, like actual balls deep into thinking about shit because
Melee weapons, guns.
yeah, you definitely need
Um,
guns. You need blasters or some kind of futuristic pew. Something future. I mean, if you're gonna go futuristic time zone, then yeah, you need some futuristic BB gun.
Yep.
Instead of a ray gun, you call it the prey gun. Like, why do you call it a prey gun? Because when I shoot at you, you're praying, right? Okay. Like some shit like that.
But different cultures, that's huge.
Yeah, that's why I want. That's what I'm saying. If we make it interstellar, because the thing is, if you were to make it one planet, then you do the same thing. Just make it like there's a mountain here that blocks this off, so this is why this area is snowy or whatever, and this area is, whatever. Like you have to make like a world map, I guess, which is cool in a different way. Just like I said, I just need Bill to kind of like hone in and be like, this is what I want. Like, cool. Let me figure it out now. Maybe
Well, if you see your brainstorming with us, it'll help a lot.
Oh, I
Almost
think
like
so too.
brainwashing.
No, same thing.
We're brainwashing each other.
Right. I mean, that is what influencing is, kind of, in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's just that's the negative connotation of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never heard of this bicameral mentality. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah,
I mean, religion is obviously a natural phenomenon, so
yeah. Well,
Makes
like
sense.
I think that, like I said, I tell people this all the time though. Like, you got to give yourself credit. Like when you overcome drugs or when you overcome whatever the fuck it is, like stop saying someone else made you do it, dude. Like you did that. That's a big accomplishment. You should be very proud of yourself. Like
maybe when they pray to God, it's like they
reassure
take
themselves.
pressure off themselves. They take pressure off.
Yeah.
So then it's like when they sleep or whatever, then their brain just reorders itself without stress or something. I don't fucking know.
I don't
And
know either. I could see some of that though.
That's something to do with it. It's got to. I mean, there's a reason why people are religious. It's not just the fear of death. I don't think. Well, I mean that's part of it, but
That is part of it, but no, it's not.
big
Like I
part
said,
of it.
I think a lot of it is it's man's attempt to try to explain things they don't know, especially primitively.
People need a grounding to make sense of shit.
Yeah, it does
Like-
help. Dude, so we're looking at something earlier. I was looking at like what makes space expand, And basically, right now,
Yeah.
like, it's just magic. When people say dark matter, to me, it just means you're saying magic. We don't know. We know there's something here.
Energy, yeah.
Yeah, like we know
Yep.
there's something there, but we don't know yet. We can't
I've been
explain
thinking
it.
about it. I've been trying to use the space-time bubble thing, and then there's like the quantum fluid element, where like maybe, because I genuinely think there's a border, like a surface, between quantum reality and classical reality. I think so far that the quantum fluid is just like a pure difference, like flux thing, and I think there's like bubbles that connects like so. Right now, I think classical reality is a connection of like a collection of bubbles that's like in a network
Mm-hmm.
that where information transfers through, and I don't know the dimension to it. That's another thing, but so you could get an expansion of space through the surface of the quantum fluid or whatever getting longer, and then more primordial space-time bubbles coming to the surface. So like virtual particles exist, and that could be a sort of analog for space-time bubbles. So like the whole bubble thing, like I thought of that just to try to explain wave particle duality. So like in that sense, a bubble would be a particle, but and it would have a certain oscillatory signature within inside of it, that would give it its spin or
Motion, I
whatever.
guess.
Yeah. So like that's the thing with theory, is there's so many different ways it can take shape. So but it does seem the more I think I've just thought about the like temporal extension part, like of like, so like an electron cloud, right?
Okay.
The electron is in many, many different places at once.
Yep.
So like my reasoning for why that is that it's extended over time, and the only way for that to be possible is for like our perspective on it to be different than, so it's like compressed in time, or are we compressed in time? I don't know. Basically it's extended over time, and then as like the border between worlds is crossed or whatever, that information gets compressed. So like it's actually in motion, I think, in 4+1 dimensions, maybe. And see, it gets even more complicated than that, because
Of course.
the dimensionality part's fucking, because like it all depends on how space is constructed, I think. So there's so many fucking possibilities, but I think the bubble thing and the fluid thing has legs.
You talking about like universe and bubbles?
Or
what are you talking about, bubble thing? Or
like
just set theory, basically, in general?
it relates to the set theory shit, but it's not. When I say bubble, I mean literally bubble, like
like the universe is in a bubble kind of thing, like that theory.
No, like our space time is composed of a fucking ton of bubbles. I think, like where depending on the frequency of the surface of the bubble, we get either a particle, or we get plain old space time, or we get a special kind of particle. And I think that's surrounded, like every bubble is surrounded by a 4D quantum fluid. And I think like quantum tunneling is so like we see it as like a tunnel or whatever that we can't actually see. But I think the way quantum tunneling actually is it's a wide open space in a 4D fluid. But this requires so much revision, so much fucking around with it, tweaking it.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I suppose.
Here's the thing. I brought that up just to try to explain wave particle duality. So if you have a space-time bubble and you stimulate that bubble in some kind of way, and then a wave forms on the surface of the bubble. If the frequency is high enough on this bubble at the other side of that bubble, so like basically the wave travels like around the bubble, then it hits the other side. If the frequency is high enough, it can dislodge part of that bubble, and then that is just like a smaller bubble, and then that bubble can then move toward another regular space-time bubble, and then transfer its information into it. So it's like an indefinite process where you get the wave particle duality through the bubble being affected by the wave, basically. But there's a lot more to it because you got to think about wave propagation across like 3 dimensions, and then I went up to the idea of light or photons actually being immobile. So
Immobile?
so it kind of does make sense that photons could be the only thing that isn't moving, and then everything else is moving. But that requires a lot more fucking shit because like the thing with relativity is that light is moving at a constant relative speed. So
Yep.
like if you're moving faster, light is still moving the same speed no matter what speed you're moving at. So it's like moving everything else.
Yeah, like I said, if you go fast than the speed of light, you technically go forward in time.
Yep. So light is very special in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be the highest oscillation speed of any possible like space-time bubble before it collapses, if it's a space-time bubble at all. But I do think nothing. I feel like nothing can actually stimulate a photon, like as far as information goes. I think it's just full on like shooting out information, and then it can only take information in from through the quantum fluid.
So like a white hole almost.
Yes, exactly. I think they are white holes.
Okay. Makes more sense, I guess, that way.
And then, like you got perfect asymmetry / symmetry as well. So many photons, not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not nearly the same amount as black holes. Like black holes are far fewer in number. So
Yeah.
I think photons are like the key to all of it. That's the thing with waves, though, is you don't know where they're actually at. And then the whole idea of collapsing a wave particle at any fucking point in its field just makes it even weirder.
Right.
And whatever theory you come up with for the expansion of space-time, it has to include redshift. That's the hard part.
Why was redshift?
It's where the wavelength gets longer over time, over large stretches of space, due to space expanding.
The Doppler effect? It seems like the line, the spectrum gets squigglier, like bigger, wider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only way to figure this shit out is to come up with bad ideas, prove them wrong, and then
Well,
come
yeah.
up with other ideas.
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, once you get to like this all theoretical shit, yeah, dude, you just gotta you throw shit at the fucking board and hopefully one sticks, right?
Yep. But I do think that the foundation of math thing is going to play a role.
Probably, dude. All of it has to do with math. So yeah, I mean,
It's all symmetrical, dude. Like math is reality.
yeah,
And logic too, so it's all different sides.
right.
But yeah.
Fuck, man. Yeah.
I'll have to look at string theory math sometime.
It's hard as fuck, man. Like I said, I had a dude try to explain it to me. It's really hard as a non-math person. Like I said, I get the concept, but fuck, man, it blows my mind.
Yeah, dude, there's so many theories where the math checks out, but it doesn't have empirical grounding, and then it just is false.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole notion of photons being still is that's so fucking just weird.
Are they always
So I
like
don't really
shaking
think there's-
almost?
They would be, yeah. In this view, like I don't fucking know that much about photons, but like I'm sitting here talking to ChatGPT, just being like, "What if this? What if that?" And it's like, "Oh yeah," It's like
You so smart.
I have to be like, "Oh fuck you, dude. I ain't shit. Like, don't even
Yeah.
fuck with me."
Right.
But with the whole mirror universe thing, like that opens up a lot of shit. So I think there might be. I think maybe the mirror universe like comes into heat death, and since it's going back, dude, this gets fucking weird. So I think like all straight motion in the universe is actually curved when you enter like higher dimensions. So I think our universes are basically headed toward a collision course. It's like basically orbiting a void. But I think the void is actually where the quantum fluid is, because I think that is the result of heat death in the other universe. So, or also potentially black holes and all that shit. But I think there's a reciprocal relationship between both these universes over time. Like, I gotta fuck with it more. But it could be a complete loop, complete cycle.
Yeah, possibility.
Yep.
And as they say, you just need a chip in a chair, baby. Just a chip in a chair, and you got a shot.
But yeah, Occam's razor. That's our main guiding principle. I guess dialectics. I'm going with dialectics. It seems like frequency overall is pretty much the main thing in the universe. That's like what's his face said, Tesla. Everything
Frequency?
breaks down to fucking frequency. Yeah. Resonance.
It basically is talking about the electrons and shit moving, right?
Yeah, no, I think like everything though. He thought like basically everything came down to frequency. When we think about like the torus, the shape of the torus, that makes me think like the whole void in the middle of universes might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the idea of the fucking universe like being situated in a quantum fluid where like what if it's all actually flat on this fluid, and then the like 2D on the fluid. But from the way that everything is networked, it appears to be 3D. And the more surface area you get on the like surface of the fluid, the more you know, space expands, because I don't know, there might be primordial bubbles underneath. I'm not sure, but everything being related to that surface seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't.
Just everything being encapsulated. Well, I don't know. I have to think about it more.
I know it's so complicated.
Yeah, the whole thing with the quantum problem is just getting into the quantum reference frame. Getting out of classical reality. I think waves on the surfaces of bubbles, that just fucking seems like it's gotta be something. It's gotta be right. That's a good fucking start.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't fucking know, man. It's fucking complicated shit. I would have to look into so many things.
Hmm.
So many things.
Alright, I'm gonna dip.
Alright, brother.
Go step for a cigarette probably, and I don't know what else.
After this game of
I did.
Risk It Biscuit, I'll probably be done.
Alright, man, I'll catch you tomorrow.
Alright, brother. Peace out.
Peace.
Finish this game of Risk It Biscuit, and then I'll go to bed myself. We'll hold that cash in. Cash me outside. How about that? No risk it, no biscuit. Boom, 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 boom. He's gonna take him out. I couldn't take him out. Oh, what? Why? Only 2 cards? I'd have took those 2 cards. I'd have took them motherfuckers. Still got a horse. Pfft. Purple should go right here, but he's not. He's gonna go right here like a biatch. This guy must have alliance with everybody. He's not fighting him. He's not fighting him. I'm not fighting him. I just can't because he's too big. I mean, I want to sneak here, but I don't want to do that right now. With his 40-40 Club ESPN on the screen, sipping through with the lean. Let's see here. Let's listen to this, Bobby.
We'll see in 3 easy steps. Just answer a few basic questions, and we'll take care of the details. Plus, LegalZoom is a one-stop shop for helping you run and protect your business.
What was overstated? Wait, what did I just say that was overstated?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Matt Dearden. I teach history, con law,
Take these cards.
as an adjunct. But then my main day job is I run my own law firm, do business law and that type of stuff. So have been a fan of your stuff for a while, Destiny, and I probably don't agree with you on everything, but love to have this conversation.
Yeah. All right. Well, did you have a particular spot that you wanted to? Oh, wait, real quick. Did you say you were on TikTok? That's where you post the majority of your content, right?
Yeah, I'm Matt Dearden49. I have some fake accounts out there, as I'm sure you're familiar with, but yeah, that's the main one.
Okay. What, did you have a particular thing in mind you wanted to chat about, or?
Yeah, I did. So I've watched a lot of your stuff over the years, and I recently watched your interview with Alex O'Connor, and I thought it was really good from a few months ago. And you brought up something on there that really resonated with me, and I wanted you to expand upon it a little bit. What you had said specifically was about how the right, particularly the right in 2024-25, doesn't have a lot of standard bearers ideologically, and because they don't have that, they're not able to discuss policy. And you've said that essentially all of the arguments with the right now occur kind of at the culture war level. And there's just back and forth, mudslinging back and forth. And so you have to engage at that level in order to even get down to any of the actual policy stuff. And most of the front runners right now, the Tim Pools, pretty much the entire cast of the Daily Wire, Candace Owens, many others, they can't engage any deeper than the mudslinging. And I think that's true. And I lean conservative. I do not consider myself MAGA whatsoever, but I think that's an accurate picture right now of much of the right. And it's a picture of some of the left too. Don't get me wrong. For sure, there's people out there. But can you expand on that a little bit? Because I think it's just an interesting starting point.
I mean, I feel like one thing that the right has been able to do, I would say they stumbled into it more than anything else with Trump, is I feel like right now politics is a lot about capturing attention and how much you can basically stay in front of somebody's eyes. Ironically enough, it's kind of how being a YouTuber or streamer works. The more that you post content, the more you're spending time live, the more people see you and you're relevant and people just keep watching you. I think that Trump is really good at doing that just because he's so attention hungry. So he's tweeting all the time, he's truthing all the time, he's doing interviews, he's constantly making statements and getting up to stuff. And I think that when you have a lot of attention, now when you have that attention, when you're putting issues in front of people, if you talk to an ordinary worker about the amount of aid that we should send to Ukraine or what good fiscal policy is or whatever, like nobody thinks much or cares about that. Whereas if you start invoking like the trans athlete stuff or whatever culture wars issues, or if you speak about trade wars in a more narrative format, like these countries are robbing us, it just like drives people's, I guess, excitement up for politics and gets you on their side more. So and it used to be that people would kind of do that, but at least on the back end of things, there'd be policy debate going on. But now it feels like the culture war stuff has literally taken over the back end, as we've seen today with these unbelievable terrorists that I guess have actually gone through now.
Yeah, I think you're right in many respects. And a lot of the people that argued for these conservative oriented, I should say, policies over the years gave up so much ground intellectually the moment Trump took office, because especially the second term, because he started passing or instituting all these executive orders, which would go against any type of limited government belief, any type of, hey, we're going to limit the power of this branch or any separation of powers. And they've said, let's put him on Mount Rushmore now. And so I think that's going to be hard to recover from for a lot of the right.
Yeah,
we saw
that
Walsh.
Time like taking. I don't know if I'll be able to take any conservative debater seriously for the next like 10 years. Just seeing how insane this presidency has been in the first month, and then I don't know what you're gonna break with Walsh, but for Walsh and Shapiro, I remember in 2016 reading just the most condemnatory articles from them about how they would never vote for somebody like Donald Trump, and how he goes against everything a Christian should believe in, and his rhetoric is insane. And to see the Republican point of view change based on how likely it is that Trump is gonna be in office again is so sad to me. Like, yeah.
What do you think a conservative is? Like, what would be your definition of conservatism as an ideology? Not maybe as it exists in 2025, but what it is traditionally.
What it is traditionally? Man, I'm sure that's evolved over time a lot. I guess when I grow up, my really macro view of liberals versus conservatives is basically just who has the responsibility to take care of the people around them. It feels like liberals have this belief that the government has the ability to take resources from and distribute them in the most efficient way possible to a large group of people, some that might be left behind otherwise. And conservatives feel more that people in their own communities have a better ability to distribute help in a variety of ways to the people around them, because if you care about personally, you distribute your own money better. You don't need some algorithm or bureaucracy to do it for you. That's like a very macro level difference, I think, in the approach between both.
Yeah, pretty much.
But who do you think gives government that power? Like, who gives government the ability to choose what to do with its resources?
The people.
Or what rights to prioritize or even take or remove?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how philosophically you want to view that question. Right. I mean, we could say on one level, the Constitution gives that ability. We could say on another level, the Constitution authorizes Congress to create laws that would give them that ability. We could say another, it all comes from the people ultimately, because we could always coup the government. I don't know, I guess what exactly you're asking.
Well, a lot of people would say that rights themselves come from God, and for example, the Declaration of Independence alludes to that. I would imagine that's probably not your perspective.
I don't think it's relevant whether you think your rights come from God or not. I mean, the government is there to create it to protect whatever rights we have. But regardless of if you think they come from God or not, I don't know if that would influence too much what you think government's role should be.
Right. And I think even when someone like Thomas Jefferson said that in the Declaration, he's not making any type of truth claim. He's using it as a rhetorical document to advance his position, which they should be able to release themselves from Britain. But my point is, I think that what conservatism is based in is probably this idea that there should be a limited government with power in certain spheres. And once that power expands over those certain spheres, there should be consequences from the people that put the people in power, initially. And so I think that would, I don't know, I think that would align for the most part with a lot of what the founders believed, right? So these founders such as Madison, Hamilton, or John Jay, who wrote the Federalist Papers, they were like, we need a powerful government, but it needs to operate within certain limits, within checks and balances, separation of powers, pulling on these ideas of Locke and others, and saying if the government goes beyond that, though, the people have a right to overthrow the government or adjust the government in such a way that it is actually in place to protect those rights.
They don't have the right to overthrow. That was in the Declaration of Independence, not the whatever. So that's a farce.
And I think that that's actually being turned on its head with Trump. Because the idea now is that now that we are in power and we have kind of this nationalist populist movement with Trump right now, the government can do whatever it needs to do to accomplish what Trump believes are legitimate ends. And you see huge swaths of the population just agreeing with that, who formerly would have held to these more conservative limited government mandates, have been around for, I would argue, decades. I mean, don't you think it's been tossed on its head a little bit?
A little bit, maybe. I think the issue is that what's happened is I feel like we don't really have any defenders of democracy, defenders of like liberal democracy, liberal not in like the liberal conservative sense, but just in the idea of our system. Our system hasn't had any defenders, it feels like for quite a while, at least in my lifetime, at least like maybe a decade and a half, because the left is always demonizing, you know, capitalists and the government lobbyists and everything else. And now, after the death of the neocon, now the right has been attacking the government as just being this huge scam bureaucracy deep state. And when you don't really have anybody in society that's defending the order, the actual like liberal order, then you end up in this world where everything is permissible as long as it's advancing your side's interests. So you might have somebody who says like, oh, I don't believe in this particular thing, but what they really mean to say is, I don't believe in this thing when it's used against me, but I do believe in it when it's used against the other side.
Yeah, it's like the FBI, like all these people are against the FBI until they solve a case that they agree with, or CIA or whoever. So yeah, pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So who's out there right now on either the left or the right that you admire and is actually advancing these concepts ideologically and not just from a tit for tat type of thing at the surface level?
I don't know right now. I'm not sure.
Like anybody?
I literally just tweeted like an hour ago or 2 hours ago that like the Democrats need to have a strong, vocal, like obvious person who is kind of serving as this counterposition to Donald Trump right now. And I feel like we don't have that strong voice right now. I feel like it doesn't exist at this moment in time.
Who's been the best Democrat candidate for president in your lifetime?
This is gonna be really unpopular, but for all the issues with his age, I thought that Biden did a phenomenal job in office. I think he tried really hard to do that spirit of the country, to bring us together. There was a ton of joint legislation passed. He did his best to avoid demonizing or attacking the other side. Even in that speech that they try to rip that quote from with the red background, where he talks about MAGA Republicans, like he even says in the next line, he doesn't even think a majority of the Republicans are MAGA Republicans, and he's talking about the election deniers, like he specifies that. I think that Biden did a phenomenal job, given how crazy the hand he was dealt, I guess. But
what about Obama?
I was younger, and I'm very hesitant to rely on my memory now for anything before I started like studying stuff with more depth. I feel like Obama did a decent job. Like, I appreciate the ACA. McConnell made it obviously really hard for anything to happen once he lost his congressional power, once Obama lost his any majorities in Congress. But I don't know if I would say like Obama was a phenomenal president, did an amazing job, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of what you said makes sense for sure. I think it's hard because, like you said, in the past decade, conservatives have become the anti-government party, and it's anything that the government does is the deep state or it's the swamp, and it needs to be drained. And that's never been what conservatism is. I think conservatism has always wanted to play within the limits of what's been given as the government, but I don't think governmental actions are inherently wrong. And I don't even think Reagan would have thought that. I think that Reagan would have spoken much more to a broader view of the good of government. And it's come to the point that in the last 10 years. I've seen a complete shift in the way the conservatives view government.
Sure.
As a base negative.
Yeah, and I think Trump even recently has now finally begun to tear into Reagan as well, where, what did he say? That he thought Reagan was dumb on tariffs or something? Or was it something different? He started to criticize Reagan's view on things, and it's like, okay, geez, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Reagan.
Yeah, they're done with Reagan. He's a neocon. He's a neocon. That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Reagan probably wasn't as good of president as a lot of conservatives remember him to be, but I think he did speak pretty effectively to kind of the conservative movement as a whole. And obviously he had to be more hawkish than a lot of conservatives probably would have liked just with the ending of the Cold War, but he was, a pretty vanilla politician in many aspects, I think. And he accomplished some good things. He rode on the wave of some good economics, but... the end of the day, he's probably not a god.
Sure, maybe. I don't know enough. I haven't studied any of it in depth, so I can only give like surface level takes on it, but sure.
Yeah. So is there anything that you liked about Trump's first, 4 to 6 weeks in office?
Probably not, no.
Anything?
I think it's been beyond disastrous so far. I don't think anybody would have guessed it would have been quite as chaotic as it's been so far. There might
be
of
his appointments? Like his appointments, or
I mean, like the only one that was like barely normalish would have been Rubio, but Rubio is totally sold out now to Trump's view on everything as well. So I don't know. What are some things that you think I should be in favor of or should be happy with?
I mean, he's definitely taken a hammer to a lot of stuff with his executive orders. So I don't love that, even if I can appreciate some of the end goals.
Oh wait, I get two. Getting rid of the penny, I guess, is good. That seemed like a waste of money.
Yeah.
And maybe the paper straw thing. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of silly for an executive order on that, but I don't like paper straws. But there you go. There's two, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the tariff stuff going on with the 25% on Mexico, Canada today?
I think that on paper it's kind of boring. The stock market stuff is exciting to follow, but I feel like it's probably some of the saddest stuff that we've ever gone through. I feel like everybody was wondering what the fighting would look like between Russia and China, and now we find ourselves a month into his presidency, and the biggest fights we are having are with our allies over quasi acts of war, these like crazy tariffs between the EU. I think right now as it stands, we have lots of tariffs against our trading partners than we do against China. I don't understand why. Nothing about the biggest issue that I've had with Trump is I don't have like a theory of mind for him to understand like what his coherent vision is of America and the world. Like let's say that we hate.
I don't think he has. He doesn't have.
Yeah,
one.
unfortunately,
I really don't. I don't think he has one.
Like if you're
For better or for
fighting
worse.
with China and fighting with Europe and fighting with Russia and everybody else, okay, fine. But then why would you make such an enemy out of Canada and Mexico? These are going to be your new most important friends if we're going to, fight the rest of the world. You would think, but
I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was under the impression for a while that he was just solely trying to use those numbers as leverage. And I'm hopeful there'll still be a very short-term tariffs to kind of try to bring them to the table to rediscuss the Mexico, U.S., Canada agreement or something like that. But,
well, but even that
not
position
long-term.
is crazy, right? Like this was an agreement that he negotiated
Maybe.
like 5 years ago. Why would it be that like
Right.
I'm going to bring out like basically the nuclear trade options to renegotiate a deal? Couldn't he have just like tried to approach them in a conversation first? Like,
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but that's not Trump. This is what he did all throughout his first term. He would throw out these wild threats, especially to countries that, other countries, and he'd just say, hey, this is, and he'd use it as an anchor in his negotiation, and he'd move forward, whether it's a wise strategy or not. I mean, but he did negotiate that agreement to replace NAFTA, but it was set for, I think, renegotiation next year anyways, in 2026. So I think he just wants to start off and renegotiate it again.
yeah, I guess, but I don't know where this, I don't know if it's because it's just been normalized, but this like crazy, I call this like the retard defense, where Trump can basically do whatever,
Yeah.
and it's justified as some basis of negotiation. Like, I feel like Trump could say, we've got a lot of extra nukes that we need to unload. Maybe they'll go to Mexico City, maybe they'll go to Toronto and Vancouver, but I'm only saying this as a negotiating tactic. And Republicans be like, well, I mean, he's not actually going to do it, and it does bring them to the table. Yeah, but it's destroying our reputation, and it's destroying our relationships with these like historic friends and allies of ours. Why would we ever do this? Even if he did manage to negotiate something after these threats and after these tariffs, it's still bad. It's still on the net not good. We probably could have negotiated it anyway.
No, you're probably right. And I've said before, I think it might backfire on him, and we'll see. I didn't even think he was actually
it's already backfired. We've already done the tariffs. Like the damage is already done. There's no way of undoing this damage now. Now we've just suffered some long-term reputational harm. Even if we negotiate something good after this, it's still been a net bad for everybody. The fact that we're even wasting time talking about this as a country, and that with Canada and Mexico and now the entire European Union stressing over it, this is all like a net bad for our reputation. No?
No, I think you're probably right overall. I think it is a net bad for the country. But do you think, though, that he has a future plan related to this, or is he just all making it up as he goes? Is he just hoping that
I can't see any future plan. I don't know. I don't know what he hasn't even made any demands. Sorry,
well, he's made some vague demands. Like he said, I want Mexico to do better on the border, and he's mentioned fentanyl, but no specific demands.
Well,
right?
but
At least I've not
that's,
seen any.
but that's bullshit, right? Like in order for the National Emergencies Act to give him the ability to leverage these, or to these tariffs, he has to have a national emergency, right? So that's why he did the border thing in the north and the border in the south. But we're not really worried about fentanyl coming from Canada, right? Like it's not like a real thing. He's just saying it for the legal justification to do economic warfare.
Right, you're probably right, but at the end of the day, you have to
hold on, I
hope
don't understand this. Wait.
No.
I'm probably right. I'm definitely right. Do you think that we're so concerned with fentanyl from Canada that we're ready to nuke our relationship with them? Okay. So I'm definitely right. There's no way there's a coherent thought there outside of economic warfare.
But my point is, do you think there's a second act? Do you think, and I don't know this, I don't know. I truly don't. And I think it's a mistake. It obviously hurts both countries. But do you think there's a second act to this? Or do you think it's just, hey, indefinite 25% tariffs on our two neighbors?
I think that at some point, if the markets continue to slide, if prices go up, and if he starts to become politically unviable, and it has to be him, not other Republicans, because Trump doesn't care if other people lose elections, but if Trump becomes politically unviable, if the stock market slides and he's getting bad coverage, he's seeing too many mean tweets at him, then I think he'll go back to it. And I think what will happen is he'll renegotiate something that basically looks exactly like it was before, like he did last time, and he'll call it a win, and we'll go back to the status quo, except now with our reputation harmed.
Hopefully that's the worst that happens.
Do you think reputation on the world stage is important?
Yeah, for sure.
In what sense? I'm not disagreeing. I'm just asking, in what, like, how important should it be for a president to have a good reputation on the world stage?
I feel like it's essential because I feel like it's what gives you the ability to leverage. You're leveraging your reputation as a form of soft power instead of doing like actual. It would still be soft power or hard power things like doing tariffs or doing actual like kinetic strikes on people. Like I feel like reputation is good because then we can avoid stuff like this. We have a good reputation with leaders. You can sit down, you can have negotiations without having to do crazy tariffs or attack people first, basically economically.
Do you think Trump's reputation is as bad internationally as people say?
Well, maybe not with North Korea, not with Putin, not with Orban, but I think with Europe, I think that it's possible we've already done irreparable harm after that Vance speech. And with Canada and Mexico, I think our reputation is severely harmed. Yes, I think our reputation right now is probably incredibly bad. Why do you not?
Yeah, but I think it wasn't always the best with Biden either. So I think that I think he was seen as a little bit of a weak leader. I don't have necessarily any hard data to show that, but just by perception alone, even in his own country, I feel like there was that going on a little bit internationally, don't you think?
In what sense?
Just even the age thing. I think that was a big deal.
No, but I mean, like, what would I look to? Because Biden was able to cobble together, even with incredibly tepid support at home, a pretty good international coalition to do military aid and humanitarian aid to Ukraine, like he did that, the releasing of the intelligence and everything to call that invasion coming ahead of time. He was able to restrain Bibi at least twice in very important ways, I think, and Bibi waited, whether it was towards the end of the war, it was letting all those people leave Rafah. It was like 1 million people. And then I think a month into the war, he was able to get a week ceasefire for humanitarian aid to come in. Those were really key big things. I know there's like all the age jokes in the US, but like I don't know where I'm seeing like the rest of the world hated Biden or didn't respect Biden or anything. Like, I don't know if anybody was thinking those things, or if they were, I don't see how it came out in any measurable way.
Yeah, I don't think hated is the right word, but I do think so. The Ukraine-Russia stuff I think is a little bit overstated. The international community needs the United States to impose any type of sanctions on a country like
they do need us, but we don't want to be a part of them no more. That's the problem.
Russia because of the U.S. dollar. So the fact that Biden was somehow central in bandying together all of these countries to go and put sanctions on Russia or something, they needed the United States in order to even effectively do it. So I don't know that was. Does that make sense? I don't know if that was him.
Well, but it could have been. If it's Trump, I don't know if he would have done it.
You don't think the U.S. would have put sanctions on Russia?
No, I have no confidence in that. No. given the rest of Trump's like foreign policy, I don't know why I would even begin to think that. He abandoned the allies with the Kurdish people. He didn't do anything when Saudi Arabia was attacked by Iran for the first time. He didn't do anything to he didn't do anything against Ukraine, Russia when he was in office, and Crimea had been occupied, and that Russia was sending more troops into the Donbass. Like, I don't see anything with Trump standing strong with foreign allies ever, unless I missed something foreign policy wise that.
Yeah, you might be right. And so I think there was an escalation, though, and that escalation is what was the impetus for a lot of these new sanctions against Russia, though. During Biden's term.
Sure,
that makes sense. It started. Yeah, it started back. But you're
I don't want to listen to that. It's boring. Boring. Do. Anything worth watching? Oh, I guess the fight. It's about to be a girl fight. I finally got a guy, but I don't need him. Damn, big fight. That's a big fight. Thing is, he can't take him out. He's setting him up for me to take him out. Why? Because he's gonna go. He's gonna have one spot left. I got 30. He's got 33. Cool. That was a big swing. Boom, ba-da-dum, boom, 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 boom. And I'm about to cash in again. You can't cash in? Nice. Good game. Good game. He let me win by taking that dude out. I appreciate the jester. Mr. Jester. Dum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. 2-0 today. Nice. Or did I miss? Maybe I lost. I think I lost my first game, so 2-1. Nice. Oh, fine. Don't be my friend.